Browns running back Nick Chubb sustained a knee injury and was quickly ruled out with something that looked so significant that they didn't even want to show the replay in slow motion on TV. But in this video, we'll take a look at what we can maybe learn about the scenario and just what we saw in the full speed play. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Sutterer. My goal in this channel is to help teach you about the medical side of the sports world. So if anatomy and sports injuries interest you, then please consider subscribing to help support the channel. So this play, I'll admit, I didn't see anything when Chubb was down on the ground in terms of like bones popping out. You know, usually when we hear about an injury that's so bad they don't want to show the replay, we worry about something like a compound or an open fracture. As Chubb is sitting on the ground here, we don't really see anything coming through. It looks like maybe there's a little bit of kind of contour abnormality up here with him grabbing onto his left knee. Nothing that right away looked too significant. However, if we wind this back up and we look at the play itself, we can focus on Chubb's left knee as the Steelers player comes in. My concern here is that this is a forced hyperextension of Chubb's knee, and even something as high risk as a knee dislocation or at least a multiligamentous knee injury. Here we can see Chubb's left knee and leg are planting into the ground here as he's being tackled by one of the Steelers players. But then another Steelers player comes in with his helmet down and basically hits Chubb square on the front of his knee, kind of right down here in this area. And then what we can quickly see is Chubb's knee get forced into this hyperextended position where it's kind of bent upwards and in a little bit as well, with probably a combination of some valgus load, meaning load coming from the side pushing inward, combined with that hyperextension with the knee getting pushed backward. Whenever we see a hit like this, there's again very high risk that you can have a knee dislocation based on just the amount of force in the ligaments that can be injured. But at the very minimum, I think we're talking about at least a couple of ligaments that might have been completely torn. To be honest, this reminds me a little bit of what happened with Marcus Lattimore, similar sort of mechanism where a helmet kind of other player hit him, resulted in this severe knee injury and I believe dislocation if I remember correctly. But if you look here with our biodigital anatomy tool here, I want to highlight these different ligaments that we're talking about, because when we get into territory of a knee dislocation, we're dealing with multiple ligaments in the knee that have been torn. Traditionally, we think of the four main ligaments. We have the MCL, which is going to sit down here on the inside of the knee. That's the one that if you think of this being the outside, that blow coming in this way pushes the inside of the knee in that direction, which puts that MCL under tension and can cause a full tear of the MCL. We then on the outside have the LCL, and then deep inside the knee, the ACL and the PCL. And typically you need to have 3 of those 4 ligaments completely torn to have an unstable or a dislocated knee, with a little bit more complexity and nuance to that. The big concern though with if this is a knee dislocation is there's a big blood vessel that runs down the back side of the knee called the popliteal artery. When you dislocate the knee, you can transiently injure that popliteal artery, which can then cause impaired blood flow further down into the leg. So this is something that whenever the medical staff is out there on the field, the first things they're going to be checking is his knee unstable? Is there a concern for a dislocated joint? To do that, if you're in this situation yourself, providing sports coverage or whatever, put the knee in full extension. If the knee is locked in extension and is unstable, medial or lateral with varus or valgus stress test, that implies there's been a knee dislocation. When we typically stress the LCL and the MCL, we do it with the knee bent at about 30 degrees to isolate just those ligaments. But when the knee is locked in extension all the way out, even if these ligaments are torn in isolation, the knee shouldn't gap or be unstable. But if it does, we have to be concerned and assume there's been a knee dislocation. The other component of this, that hyperextension, that helmet coming in, hitting the front of the knee, bending it backwards, in and of itself is a high risk for ACL, PCL injuries. Just to recap this one more time, as Chubb comes down, steps, plants with that left leg, Steelers defender comes in, hits the front of his knee, forcing his knee into a severe amount of hyperextension and likely valgus from the outside inward, compromising the ligaments in his knee, potentially leading something to like a dislocation or at least multiples of those ligaments being injured. I would be shocked if this is not a season-ending type of injury for Chubb. And when we talk about these potential dislocations, this is also like career-threatening just because we worry about the limb and how serious these things can be to treat and recover. So we'll hope for the best. Acutely right now, it's all about making sure that joint wasn't dislocated and there's no compromised blood flow. And then it's about trying to address those ligament injuries accordingly. That's it for the video, everybody. Thank you as always for watching. Let me know any questions or comments down below. And until next time, we'll see you later.